Two people can have the same salary, the same job, the same bills, even the same rent in the same city, and after 5 years, one of them is completely stuck and the other one has options. Same money coming in, totally different life coming out. And here is the crazy part. The difference did not happen over 5 years. It happened in the first hour after the money touched their hand. Hi, I am Max. In this video, I will break down 3 financial personalities that live inside all of us, and the one small decision that decide which personality you become. And no, I'm not rich, okay? But I moved from one of these personalities to another, and my life is not the same anymore, thanks God. Now let me explain something first. Every month money arrives in your hand. Maybe it's a salary, maybe it's a small side income, maybe it's a bonus you were not expecting, and in that moment something happens in your brain. You ask yourself a question. You do not say it out loud, but the question is here, and the question you ask is exactly what decides your financial future, because 3 different people can ask 3 different questions about the exact same $200, and that is where the path splits. So let me introduce you to these 3 personalities. You will recognize them, believe me. You might even recognize yourself. The first personality is the reactor. The reactor asks one question: what do I want right now? That's it, nothing more. And look, I'm not judging him, okay? I was the reactor for years. Let me describe his month for you. Money comes in on Friday. By Saturday, there is a dinner out. By Sunday, there is something new in the car. Not because he planned it, but because the money was simply there. And this is the important part. The reactor is not bad with money. The reactor is fast with money. His money never stays long enough to become anything else. It arrives, it feels good, it leaves. And you know what he is really buying? He is not buying shoes or food. He is buying relief, because spending money removes the stress for about 2 hours. It makes a hard week feel lighter for a moment. So his brain learns something dangerous. Money equals feeling better right now. And once your brain learns that, every time you feel tired or stressed, your hand goes to your phone, and your phone goes to that checkout button. 5 years of that. And the reactor has stories, photos, memories, and a bank account that resets every single month. He is not lazy, he is not stupid, he just never gave his money a job, and money without a job always finds one. It goes to whoever is selling the loudest. Now the second personality is the protector, and this one is more interesting because the protector looks responsible. The protector asks a completely different question. What if something goes wrong? That is his question. What if I lose my job? What if the car breaks down? What if someone in the family gets sick? So the protector saves. Every month a fixed amount goes to the saving account. He does not eat out much. He compares prices before he buys. He feels calm because there is a number in the bank. And honestly, my friend, this is real progress. If you moved from the reactor to the protector, you already did something most people never do. But here is where I have to be honest with you. Saving is defense. Defense keeps you alive. Defense does not move you forward. And there are 2 things nobody tells the protector. The first one, money that only waits gets eaten quietly. Prices go up every year, slowly. Your 5,000 stays 5,000 on the screen, but it buys less and less every year. You do not feel that in 1 month. You feel it after 5 years. The second thing is worse. Saving feels so good that many people just stop there forever. They think the savings account is the finish line. It's not the finish line. It's a waiting room. And a waiting room is only useful if you are actually waiting for something. So let me ask you a simple question. You're saving money. What is it waiting for? If the answer is emergencies, perfect. Keep it. That is exactly what it is for. But if every single dollar you own is waiting for something bad to happen, then your whole financial life is built around around fear, not growth. And fear is a very expensive strategy. Now the third personality, and this is the one that changed things for me. The third personality is the builder. The builder asks a totally different question. He does not ask, what do I want? He does not ask, what if something goes wrong? He asks, what can this money become? And that question changes everything, because now money is not a feeling and money is not a safety blanket. Money becomes a tool. Let me give you a real example. My friend Adam works in a warehouse. Normal salary, nothing special about it. 1 month he had around $150 extra. The reactor inside him wanted new sneakers. The protector inside him wanted to hide it in the bank. Instead, he bought a new pressure washer. Yes, a pressure washer. That's it. Then he messaged the people in his building and offered to wash their car on Saturday. $25 per car. 6 cars and his 150 came back to him. Everything after that was profit. Now listen to what he did next. He did not celebrate with a big dinner. He took that first profit and bought a better nozzle and a small vacuum. Now he could charge 40 instead of 25. Same Saturday, same hour, more money. 2 months later, he was cleaning driveways too. He's not rich, okay? He did not quit his job, but he built something real with the $150, while other people were still arguing about whether coffee is too expensive. And I want you to notice something here. Adam still spends and Adam still saves. The difference is the order. His money gets a job first, then it goes to fun and to safety. That is the whole difference between the three. Not the income, not the luck, the order. And by the way, building does not have to be physical. You can buy a skill with the same money. $60 on a serious course, 1 month of a real practice, and suddenly you can edit videos or design thumbnails or fix a website. That skill sits in your head forever and nobody can take it away from you. The pressure washer can break, the skill cannot break. And there is a third thing the builder buys, and this one took me a long time to see. The builder buys time. Let me explain what I mean by that. If you pay $30 to stop doing something boring for a whole weekend and you use that weekend to build something, you did not spend $30. You bought yourself 2 free days. So look at it like this. The reactor buys things, the protector buys safety, the builder buys tools, skills, and hours. Same money, 3 completely different shopping lists. And if you look at your last 10 purchases, you can tell exactly which list you are shopping from. Because here is the truth, my friend. Nobody becomes free by accident. You buy your freedom in small pieces. And most of those pieces look boring on the day you buy them. Now this is the most important part of this video. Listen carefully. These 3 personalities are not 3 people. They are 3 versions of you. And they all live in your head together. You are the reactor on a stressful Tuesday. You are the protector when the news scares you. You are the builder when you feel confident. So the real question is not which personality I am. The real question is which personality is holding my money right now. Because the money always goes to whoever is awake in that moment. And here is something nobody talks about. The reactor is loudest at night. The reactor is loudest when you are tired. After a long day, when you feel you deserve something, that is not weakness. My friend, that is human. So you do not beat him with willpower. You beat him with timing. And before I give you the steps, I have to warn you about a 4th character. Almost nobody talks about this one. This is the waiter. The waiter is not spending much. The waiter is not saving much either. The waiter is waiting. Waiting for a better salary. Waiting for a perfect idea. Waiting for the right time to start. And the waiter sounds so responsible. And that is exactly why he is dangerous. Because 5 years pass, he still has the same plan in his head and 0 experience in his hands. Please do not be the waiter, my friend. A small ugly start beats a perfect perfect plan that never leaves your notes app. So how do you move up on level? 3 simple things, nothing complicated. The first one, decide before the money arrives. This one is huge. If you decide while you are holding the money, you are deciding while you are hungry, and hungry decisions are always bad decisions. So one day before payday, write down where every part of it goes: bills, savings, fun, and one small part for building. When the money lands, you are not thinking, you are just following instructions from a calmer version of yourself. The second thing, give a small amount of job, not your rent money, okay? Something small, $50, $100, and give yourself 30 days to turn it into one single sale. One sale, that is the whole goal. Because the first sale is not about the money, it's about proving to your brain that you can create money, not only receive it. And if you lose that $50, so what? That is the cheapest business lesson on earth. Some people pay thousands for a lesson like that. The third thing, and most people fail here, reinvest that first profit. Do not celebrate it. The first profit is not a reward. The first profit is a seed. If you spend it, you are back to zero, and you learned almost nothing. If you put it back in, your small thing become a slightly bigger thing, and that is how everything grows. Slowly, boringly, and then suddenly. Now let me give you a simple test to know where you really are today. Open your bank app right now. Look at last month, not last year, and count how many purchases could bring money back to you. Not how many were smart or stupid, just how many of them could return. If the answer is 0 and nothing was saved, you were the reactor last month. If the answer is 0 but you saved something, you were the protector. And if the answer is even 1, congrats my friend. The builder is already awake inside you. And no guilt, okay? This is not a judgment. This is just data. You cannot fix what you refuse to look at. So let me put it all together. 3 people, same salary, same city, same bills. One ask, what do I want? One ask, what if something goes wrong? One ask, what can this money become? 5 years later, they do not have different bank accounts. They have different lives. Because your financial path is not decided by how much you earn. It is decided by the question you ask in the first hour after the money arrives. And that question is free to change. You can change it this month. So tell me in the comments, which personality you were last month? Be honest, nobody is judging you here. Like this video to support me keeping up, and remember, I will always be cheering you on from afar.